This is a short video on how to create street section using starting from a Digimap plan. So first things you may need is a Digimap plan, which should be printed in scale, and you need some tracing paper and a ruler, pencils, and also some pens of different thickness, let's say. So first things to do to print your Digimap plan. Then you need a tracing paper to put over it. In this case, I just put some tape to take it stable. As you can see here, what I was trying to find was to try to understand which is our section line. So the section line is very important because it's giving you the direction where we want to section. So this is a kind of imaginary line where we section our building. So I always suggest to stay parallel to the building, especially if you're not super familiar with street section. You have to imagine to stay in that point where I draw the rounded circle. So if you imagine to stand on that specific area and to look in that direction of the street section, of the section line where we drawn it, basically we're gonna see through the buildings in that direction. Once you're satisfied with your section line, you have to draw the ground of the section. So you go a little bit up, so it's a random distance between those two lines, but just remember that the ground line, so the black one, the one that I draw with the pen, it will be the base, the soil, the ground of our section. So we start from that line to draw our section. In order to not to be distracted by other things below the tracing paper, I always use a white paper underneath in order to have, section lines, and then you have this ground line, and then you have just white paper on the back, so you can easily draw your section. So what I'm gonna do here, for each building that I'm cutting, I'm drawing some dash line with the pencil. So those dash line are just guidelines that we are going to erase later on. But these are guidelines that are indicating where are the buildings I'm cutting with the section line. Now we have to draw the buildings. So we have to create the buildings in those two specific space. But of course, the issue here is that we don't know exactly which is the height of the building, or maybe we know what is the height of the building if we go into Google Maps to check. But of course, we don't know in scale in the drawing. So we have to do this calculation. It will be very easy. So first things to do, I always suggest to check. So if you go on Google, what you can do is to basically count the windows in order to understand which is the height of the building. So every row of window, it will be like it represents a story, and a floor, normally it is 3 meters height. Apart from the ground floor normally is around 4 or 5 meters height, so it's a little bit higher. The other stories are all 3 meters. So of course this is not super precise, but it's just a general rule, a standard rule for you to follow every time you draw a section. So once you move inside Google Map, you have to count how many rows of windows you have. So in this case, as you can see, we have the ground floor, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows, 6 because you have to count also the one on top, and then you have also the very last one at the top. So in total, you have 8 stories with the ground floor. So this is very important for you because you need to know how your section will be higher. Of course, you have to do the same for the other side. So also for the little buildings on the other side of the other one that you're gonna section. Of course, now that we know that we have pretty much 8 stories, so it means you have to do calculations about how these 8 stories will be in the scale of the drawing. So you have to go into this website, which is a scale conversion calculator, And it's quite easy because basically into the scale ratio you have to put exactly the scale that you have in your Digimap plan. In this case it would be scale 1 to 1250. And then the second number you have to put is the real length. I was calculating just one story, so one story is you have to probably to adjust a little bit. So 3 meters high is one story. So you have to know that basically the story in this drawing, at the scale of this drawing, is 0.24 centimeters. So this is pretty much what you have to calculate. So once we know this, we can start basically tracing the 0.24 centimeters into your drawing. In this specific case, I was exaggerating a little bit with the stories just because otherwise will be was super small to show you in this video. But just to let you know, you have to take 0.24 centimeters or 24 millimeters for each story. And then what you can do is to trace all the stories. Of course, the height will be different into the two buildings because the two buildings have different heights. So on the one hand, we have 8 stories. On the other hand, we only have 4 stories. So if the roofs has a different shapes and so on, you can also work on it in your section. So guys, this is very it's too high compared to the reality. It should be lower, but of course I was trying to exaggerating a little bit because otherwise it was too low to show in this video. So remember that once you have the stories, you have to draw like accordingly to the dimension of the scale. And then what you can do once you have your buildings, you can start doing the same things that we did for also the public spaces, so the open space. This is very important because the section is not only made of buildings, but of course you have to consider also the public and the ground space. So how to do this? In my case, on the section line, I decided to take some small, to trace a small tick where we have the street, and also to I'm gonna show you here with the green colors where is the park, where is the garden in the middle. So in this case, you have to do exactly the same. So dash line for the street, emphasize a little bit the spaces which are protected from the street, so where you have the pavement. And here, I was trying to emphasize a little bit that inside there is a garden, there is a sort of natural areas. You can also colors with some green colors, but it's very important to show that there's something in the middle. So remember also for the trees that the trees should be in scale. Both cars, people, but also for trees, remember to always check the scale. So remember that the first stories is from 3 to 5 meters height, the ground floor. So then this is our section. The section is done. Look, and then you can remove everything, and this is your street section.